Theresa, it is such a pleasure to be speaking with you. Hi, how are you doing?
Oh, good morning. Good morning. I'm glad to be here. I'm good. I'm good. You?
Well, I'm doing wonderfully. And
Okay.
for folks that are listening, Theresa is the mother of a young lady who was recently supported through a practical functional assessment and skill-based treatment process. Not even that recently; it was a few years ago. But we're here today to kind of talk a little bit about that story. And Theresa, I have to tell you that. Uh, only joined FTF Behavioral Consulting in January of this year, 2025. But your story, and I should say your and your daughter's reputation precedes you in that it is a story of a successful experience, a socially meaningful outcome with skill-based treatment and some associated behavioral interventions that
Mhm.
has that we have celebrated and that we have been able to disseminate to others to help support other individuals who are exhibiting some severe problem behavior in their home and community. So we just want to get on a recording and let you kind of tell us a little bit about your daughter, your experience with practical functional assessment and skill-based treatment, and the Food Happens program. And how do you feel about that?
Good. 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 I welcome any opportunity to share our story, um, and hope that it does help folks out there.
Wonderful. Okay, so your daughter's name is Izzy. I would love to know how old is Izzy now?
Izzy is 23. When we started this program, she was 20. She was 18, turning 19.
18 turning 19. Okay, so she was an adult at the time. And
Yes.
take us back to them. What was happening in the home
Gosh.
and in your
Yeah.
life, in her life.
Yeah. It was a very dark time. It was just the three of us, Alan, my Izzy's dad, myself, and Izzy in the home. We couldn't keep a caregiver safe in the home. My husband had to take leave without pay. I was still working full time, but was finding places to work outside of the home because it was not very productive there at home. Um, Pica was up. She was just ingesting things here and there, off the table, in the car, everywhere. Self injurious behavior was pretty bad. The rummaging for food, on the search for food, um, was escalated. She has autism, pica, 15q duplication in the critical region of Prader-Willi, OCD, and another bunch of other minor comorbidities like GI and constipation, things like that. Um,
Wow.
but
So, just really quickly for the audience, when you talk about several comorbid diagnoses that were showing up in many ways, it felt like they were associated with several forms of severe problem behavior,
yeah,
not
yeah,
just the ones that are dangerous toward herself and others, but
yeah,
associated ones, just like an insatiable appetite. And
yes,
it sounds like there was some problem behavior associated with food and
yes,
food
yes.
denials and stuff like that.
Food, yeah, food. It was tough because I don't know if you notice, but food is everywhere. It's in a restaurant, it's in a doctor's office, it's at a park. A baby bag has crackers in it. Food is everywhere. So we had problems. Going to the mall was tough. We would literally carry a $5 bill in our left pocket and a $10 bill in our right pocket. So when we were walking around the mall, if it was a pretzel, we give them the $5 and say sorry, and Izzy was over here consuming the pretzel. Or if it was a Chinese, takeout dish, we'd apologize and give them the $10 in their right pocket. Um, Going to a park was pretty bad. She'd plummet any 2-year old that had a baby bag just to get what she thought was in that baby bag. Um, Parties and gatherings at our home, and I usually host most of ours as the eldest, as a cultural thing. That stopped abruptly as well, because of the rummaging for food. It was school placement. She would typically go to one school, but because there was a Chick-fil-A across the street, 8 rows of traffic, they chose to assign Izzy to a school outside of our zone that had no restaurants in front of it. That's how bad the Prader-Willi was in our
Oh my
lives. Pretty bad.
goodness. That sounds like it was impacting your everyday life. It was a
Every
daily thing, several times a
minute
day.
by minute, minute
Minute by
by
minute.
minute, minute by
Wow.
minute.
Well, I'm so happy that the story has a happy ending, and I don't want to spoil it. So then what happened? What
So
next?
yeah, so our we've had ABA since Izzy was 6. We've gone through many BCBAs, but that year we had a really strong BCBA who had heard about HRE, happy, relaxed, engaged, PFA, practical functional analysis, SBT, skill based treatment, and it wanted to explore those options. And I thought, oh, here we go again. We've had 3 other attempts at HRE and they failed miserably. And
Oh, interesting.
I said, if I can pick and choose, is this a la carte? Let's just go, straight to the PFA SBT. And she said, actually, you need to, we need to go with the HRE first before we implement into the PFA SBT. And I thought, this isn't going to go well. But at that time, we were under siege, like I said, and my husband was on leave without pay. We were at the pretty low part of our lives, and we were already considering residential placement for Izzy in a specific hospital, catered to Prader-Willi and severe problem behavior related to food. Um, so I figured, let's try it. But at the same time, I had another track going where she would be admitted to this hospital. And so we tried uh, HRE, and I have to say, I was delightfully surprised. It launched within the second implementation day. And
Oh,
it,
that's so fantastic.
yeah,
It
it was
it
our
launched,
first.
meaning it started to help just reduce or minimize the severe behavioral episodes.
Yes, much of the severe problem behaviors we were dealing with were escalating, aggression, self-injurious behavior, the pica, and and with the launch of HRE, we immediately saw the aggression immediately go down and the self-injurious behavior immediately go down. Because when the RBTs and the BCBAs left the home, it was just Alan and I, and the aggression would go up, the SIB would go up. But that
Mhm.
second day after implementing HRE, it launched. There was an aura about Izzy, that changed. This self-injurious went down and the aggression went down. It
Okay,
was,
thanks. I have so many questions. This is really fascinating. So this is she's 18 years old at the time. Do I have that
18.
right? She's 18
Mhm.
years old.
Yes,
This BCBA who was supporting your family, was
yes,
this BCBA, did they have any training with practical functional assessment and skill-based treatment?
yes, yes. She
Oh,
was from upstate New York, and she had heard about HRE, PFA, and SBT from trainings
uh-huh.
there. So
Awesome.
she'd
Okay.
received training up there.
Fantastic. And so, what did the environment look like that made Izzy happy, relaxed, and engaged? What
You,
was it? You know.
she had everything, like everything she could possibly want. Barney this, Barney that. She had her sight words, she had her picture cards, she had crayons. She liked OCD as well. She liked to collect crayons and colors and things like that. And so she had all of that around with her
Okay, so it was
in
like,
her
let's
area.
bring all this stuff into one general area.
Yeah,
And when you say it launched, you're like, okay, we're doing this thing, and
yeah,
then pretty quickly, you're saying Izzy's affect, her aura, as you said,
yeah, yeah.
changed.
Change. She At that point, we were working with a card. So it had a card that said "My Way" on it, and so we would. Um, the RBT would say, "Okay, no more iPad," and Izzy would just touch or push the card towards the RBT, and she would immediately get her reinforcement. It would be the iPad often, and then immediately after session, Alan and I are roaming around the house, and she's just in this like, I'm okay. And we had not been okay. We had not been okay for almost 6, 7 months, and we had not been okay. And she was literally just sitting on the couch and just happy and relaxed and
Theresa,
engaged.
that is so phenomenal to hear, and it's really a unique perspective, because I think there's a lot of professionals that may be watching this, a lot of BCBAs, and we often come into your life just for a slice, just for an hour a day, or a few hours a week, and it is hard to know, what's happening when we're not there.
Mhm.
And oftentimes, in our experience, in the beginning of the skill-based treatment process, it's not like the effects of the therapy or the treatment magically just emanate out across the day. But
Mhm.
sometimes we hear stories like this, or sometimes we capture this, that the fact that the child, or Izzy in this case, has been empowered to a degree that, like, oh, my behavior of just saying my way, that works, or the fact that we've curated this environment that's specifically designed for her, it seems to pay dividends even outside of the therapeutic sessions.
Yes.
So that's really fascinating. So then you continued with skill-based treatment, and
Mhm.
it kept, how did it, where do we end up from there? About how long do you remember it being an intensive intervention?
Oh gosh, the intensive part was probably from August to maybe February, pretty intensive. We also launched food happens concurrently. So there was skill based treatment going on, and we were doing the FCR and the TR, and then we were concurrently doing food happens, which
Mm.
actually helped remove the social mediated reinforcement of food. So instead of tugging on us, mom, hungry, hungry, pizza, pizza, chicken, chicken, it went it went from 100 mans a day to maybe two or three. um, it went from tugging on us, almost 50 times a day, reminding
Mhm.
us it's time to eat, it's time to eat, it's time to eat, to, oh, you got to wait for the blue light. I have no control over it, so we've got to wait for the blue light. When the blue light comes on, food is available.
Wow.
When
Mhm.
the blue light is not on, it's not available. So there's no need to tug on us. There's no need, hey, mommy, 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 burger, 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 or hamburger steak, or anything like that. So we saw drastic improvement. The mans were lower. The requesting for food, the aggression towards us to access food, um, went down. I want to
Oh.
say the word eliminated, but I know that that's just kind of like way out there. But it was
You say
gone.
what's
It
in
was
your heart,
gone.
Teresa. Say
Yeah, it
what's in
was
your
gone.
heart. It was
It was
gone.
gone.
Just
You know,
for the listener, or for the viewer, food happens is the name of a program that's a little outside of the scope of today's interview, but suffice to say, it's a program that's grounded in behavior analytic principles, that relies on kind of creating signals that suggest, or signals that signal that food is available, and signals that signal food is not available. And as Theresa, as you articulated really beautifully, it helps take the onus away from the adults, who are often the ones that are responsible for delivering the bad news. No, you cannot have another French fry. And so it is a program that helps kind of put the onus on something in the environment. You mentioned it was a blue light. And
yeah.
so I'm this is a remarkable story, because we know that Prader-Willi syndrome is associated with an insatiable appetite, and that it's really difficult to treat. It's often very treatment resistant. So this food happens program was happening alongside of skill-based treatment. Do I understand that correctly?
Yes, alongside. So we yeah, we were doing skill based treatment. We were working on the toleration, and then we were moving on to cabs. But at the same time, we were doing food happens throughout the day. I think we initially started off with like 17 opportunities to eat, and then we are down to six. And I have to say, delightfully, there was no weight gain in that intensive schedule of 17 food opportunities. We kind of sliced her portions up so we could actually give her the more opportunities she had, the quicker it was for her to pick up on the food is available when the blue light's on. The food is not available when it is not on. So we did a lot of opportunities at the beginning, but it was important, and Dr. Fiani knew it was important to bring down, a majority of our severe problem behavior, because a lot of the severe problem behavior was driven by the food and access to food.
Yeah, truly. So now we're getting kind of a fuller picture of what your day was starting to look like while you were undergoing skill-based treatment and this Food Happens program.
Yeah.
You dropped the name Dr. Fiani. I know that you were supported by Dr. Theresa Fiani as well as Dr. Greg Hanley briefly. I know that you had a home-based BCBA. Could you just let everyone know a little bit about what this interrelationship looked like? Like, when did FTF come into the picture? And I don't know this stuff because, as I said, I know y'all worked together before I joined the company.
FTF came in around July. We had our first consult with Dr. Henley in the very end of July. We started implementing in August of 2021. How we got started with this is we kind of put in a request to Dr. Henley to help us. We were at the end of our rope. We didn't know what else to do. It's not easy to put your child into a facility or even a hospital when they have pica, Prader-Willi, and severe autism. It just isn't easy.
When you say it's not easy, do you mean it's not easy to find a placement, or it's just not emotionally easy to
find a place? Even here when we were in the ER with Izzy, you can't leave the room and for treatment. And so it is very difficult, and oftentimes we're turned away because of her pica. And in some facilities, pica is actually an exclusion for admission. So here we are begging to get the help, and we can't get the help because of her condition. So it has been a struggle to find a place, and we did find that place in Texas. However, we saw the success of HRE, PFA, SBT, so we ditched that idea of inpatient. But the dynamics during the intensive treatment, at the beginning, we had about 6 hours a day, Monday through Friday. We had a BCBA and some RBT, but initially the treatment was implemented by the BCBA first, with the RBT watching and shadowing and helping with cameras and mics, things like that, props. And then when it was strong enough and the BCBA had enough trials, successful trials, she let the RBT in. And then when the RBT had successful trials, then the parents came in. So it went BCBA, RBT, and then the parents. 6 hours a day, we videoed most of our sessions. We turned in some sessions to FTF on a weekly basis. We had consults with them, and where they would watch videos. We would talk about some concerns. We talk about some successes through the week. We would do some live training. So we particularly had a struggle with a caregiver and Izzy at the time. So there would be some live training there where there was a bug in ear, and Dr. Henley or Dr. Fiani would provide some guidance. And I remember one of them was, her hair was really long. And Dr. Henley was like, you need to put that up. It's a target. It's a target.
So when you say caregiver, you're not referring to parents.
Oh, sorry. Care attendant, paid care attendant.
I got you. Okay. Yeah, sure. There's so much beautiful stuff that happened there. One of the things that that resonated with me was that when you mentioned that it's difficult to get into certain placements due to the nature of the behaviors. I think that is a story that will resonate with a lot of parents, a lot of families, particularly when with multiple forms of severe problem behavior. The very places where you would go for the help are places that exclude because of those behaviors. There are certain ABA programs that just aren't equipped to serve severe aggression or self-injury. And so it is both, I hope it resonates in the sense that families can empathize with that feeling, but also remarkable that you could say, in spite of that, in spite of the fact that you were having challenges finding the right placement, there was this homegrown process. Homegrown in the sense that it was your home-based BCBA and RBT and caregivers that were doing all of the implementing, and yourself. And the support that you received from FTF was at a distance, if I understand correctly.
Yes, all Zoomed. It was all Zoomed. Although I threatened Dr. Fiani and Dr. Henley that we would pack up in this used RV that I was about to buy for the hospital in Texas and park ourselves there in Massachusetts, and we would just do therapy right there in the office in their parking lot if I needed to.
So, like, I think that happy, relax, and engage, we often call that HRE. You could have had the HRV, potentially. Although Honda might sue us for that. Sorry, had to drop a dumb joke in there. This interview was going just way too well, so I had to ruin it with a silly pun. I'm curious to know, where's Izzy now? Now she's 23. Like, did skill-based treatment worked?
It worked. And I wish I could present to you the numbers and the decreases. But as a mom, I just want to tell you, we were under siege and we are not now. We can go to malls. We can go to parties. We can go to restaurants. We've actually taken vacations now with Izzy, where 4 years ago, it was pretty dark. I didn't think any of this was going to be possible. And honestly, if somebody would have told me where we were after what would happen after PFA SBT, I would have bet against them. I'm like, no way. Even Pica, dude, Pica. There is no way. I even sent Dr. Henley a message saying that I apologize, because I truly believe when he said we could address Pica, I was like, BS. In my notes, and I had to apologize. I had to tell him he was right. Severe problem behavior can be addressed with PFA SBT, and the quality of life that you get outside of PFA SBT is liberating, totally liberating. We now have a bakery. Izzy has a job at the bakery.
Oh yeah, wait. Hang on. I do want to hear about the bakery, but I just want to let this all sink in. I am truly moved by everything that you just said. For anybody who practices applied behavior analysis, this is the thing this is why we do it, is to be able to help families, to help children, adolescents, adults, and families feel free. To regain their life back. So thank you so much for sharing all those details. It is really neat. And one last thing I was going to say is that pica is, to me, one of the scariest of all of the challenging behaviors, because it is the highest risk, perhaps, maybe elopement into traffic and eating something toxic. And when you have the double Dutch of you might elope to go pica or something like that, it is triple scary. And I can't imagine the anxiety that probably gave to your life. So to feel alleviated of that is wonderful too to hear.
Yeah, we have a triple threat here with Izzy. We've got the autism, we've got the pica, right? So she'll ingest anything that she shouldn't. And the Prader-Willi that's guiding I need to eat something. But on top of that, she also has a 20% compression in her esophagus. So she can't really eat things the size of a piece of steak cut up without choking. So when we thought about having her admitted into the residential setting, I knew I needed to be close by in case pica happened, and in case forced to go to surgery. And she's had things surgically removed through her life.
Wow. Goodness. And so throughout her life, food has been a really important thing for both Izzy, for the family. But there's a kind of a happy ending to that story, as I understand, because we took this thing that was threatening everyone's peace, and now it is promoting the peace, and it is in fact maybe promoting some gainful employment as well.
right? Gainful employment. The pica is almost nearly null. When we've been dealing with this for 23 years, it's hard to say that, but I have to say, even in the recent time, there have been items that have been left out that were typically a trigger item that were left out, just left out. And we were like, there were 2 quarters in the seat, in the car seat right next to her. There were 2 quarters in the car seat next to her. And she didn't think anything of it. It has changed our lives so much so that I think it's very important to have the training here so that folks can access it, and that the school system here hears about it. So when parents are talking about it, or it's being implemented at home, school systems will understand what it is. I'll have to say our school system had been dealing or had Izzy for 18 years at that point, and they saw a drastic change that they implemented the food happens protocol at school without an IEP meeting. They were like, whatever you're doing at home, we want to watch the videos. We want to. We gave them an integrity list. We gave them the protocol, and they followed it to a T. Without an IEP meeting, because they saw the drastic change as well. The rummaging for food at school went down. The aggression towards the staff went down.
So the school team that was not involved in the home-based work said, "What's going on over there?" And we like it so much that we want it. And then they implemented it, and it was successful in the school.
It was successful. It was successful at school up until she graduated. So 4 years. 4 years.
That is, in our field in applied behavior analysis, we talk a lot about social validity, and we talk about it in terms of, do people find the goals of what you're working on important? Do they find the outcomes meaningful? And then there's this third category: do they find the procedures acceptable? And the fact that a school is like, we like those procedures, we want to try them over here, that's kind of a nice little nod for the social validity of those procedures. So that's really wonderful. You've given us so much of your time. Thank you so much. There's one last thing I want to hear about. You said you think we need to bring the training here. I know that you live in the state of Virginia. Is that right? And so
Virginia.
So this is pretty unique as well. When FTF does a workshop, we're very often working with pretty big organizations, either an ABA agency or a school district or a state professional organization. You're putting this on solo. Do I understand that correctly?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a BCBA who's going to help me with the CEUs because I can't do that, but she's working with me as well. But yes, it's very important. Awareness.
So you're hosting a 2-day workshop in Virginia Beach, and it's going to be presented by FTF. Could you tell us a little bit about when, where?
Yes, October 23rd and 24th, here in Virginia Beach at the FACT Autism Resource Center, right off of the Virginia Beach Boulevard, probably 2-3 minutes away from the bakery.
Oh my god! Oh, okay. Yeah. I think we alluded to this bakery. There's a bakery called the HRE Bakery, the Happy, Relax, Engage Bakery. Yeah. You started the bakery.
We started the bakery. Bakery.
There's an employee of the month there. And her name is
Izzy. Izzy works there. She lines our pans. She also gets some of our wet ingredients together, and does some cleaning. Has organized the register with coins, no pica. There's no locks on any of our refrigerators or containers with treats. There are no locks. She has access to food here and no behaviors.
Wow. That is so fantastic, Theresa. I cannot tell you how meaningful it is to just hear about your experiences. Truly, I want to land this plane. So a few things for the audience. If you are in the Virginia Beach area on October 26th and 27th, do I have that right?
23rd and 24th.
Sorry, on October 23rd and 24th, 2025, FTF will be presenting a 2-day workshop. It will be led by Dr. Theresa Fiani, the consultant who supported Theresa and Izzy and her family for several years. So you won't want to miss that if you're in town. You can hear much more. Probably there'll be more to learn about Theresa's story, Izzy's story, and more. So that's an important point. The second point I want to say, Theresa, is just thank you so much. I had the privilege of bumping into you, meeting you at the Profound Autism Summit, a conference in April. And I was a bit starstruck because I know you, I know your story. Your story has been very compelling and been encouraging and inspiring for all of us who work in this field. So I just want to close by saying thank you for taking time out of your very busy life and out of this morning to share the story with us. I really hope that those of you who are listening got a sense of what is possible and are walking away from this video with all of the optimism that I feel, Theresa, just getting to be in the same share the same space with you. So thank you.
Well, I thank you and all that you guys do there, learning the research you guys put into the PFA SBT. It really does make a difference to those who are living in the severe, profound autism world. It really does make a difference. So thank you.
Thank you.